Hi, my name is Brian Keston. I'm the chairman of the Augusta Student Commission for Unity. I'm a junior here and a theology major. People look at me and they wonder, what's this white straight Christian male doing, going around talking about diversity and social justice and all types of things, reaching outside of boundaries. And the truth is, I'm not trying to get everybody, to think like me or try and, hold hands in public and all types of other stuff. But, it is important to try and reach out and find and seek out common humanity, to develop our understanding of each other, not based on stereotypes, but based on authentic experiences. And it's our opportunity at college before we go out into the world, where housing is segregated, where jobs have different pay scales, where all types of different inequalities exist in education, separating children from each other. This is our shot, to get to know each other. This is our shot to find truth out of a lifetime of misunderstanding. So at Georgetown, it's been my opportunity to learn to love other people, and it's been my opportunity to find my identity in others as well. And while the conclusions that I found may not ring true for everyone, it's an opportunity to learn and to grow that everybody ought to have in a college experience.
Okay, I do not feel like diversity is discussed enough on campus, actually. I feel like it's largely ignored for the most part, and people just kind of brush over it, actually.
Yeah, it's sort of a taboo subject, I think. I don't think a lot of people like to talk about it. And the more it's out in the open, I think the better it would be for everybody.
Definitely.
Any university that aspires to be great or even good, I think, has an obligation to assemble people from all over and from all walks of life.
People often ask me, what's the mission mean to you, the mission of the university? I am excited to have part in a place where a mission statement says, in order to make a difference in the world, we have to have a commitment to things like justice and the common good, to dialogue, to conversation with others of many faiths, of many backgrounds, with the hope that each of us, and individually, but especially collectively, can work to advance that mission.
Our students at Georgetown
involved with fighting for social justice. I think that there are a few core groups on campus who definitely that's the main goal of, or their,
I don't even mean their main goal, but I mean there's a lot of different groups that do fight for
Solidarity Committee, a lot of the religious organizations on campus too, like Sisters for Christ, InterVarsity is very much about social justice.
But at the same time, if you're not involved in those groups, then I don't think it's a big deal.
There's
for
no
them,
real
there's not
incentive for you to become involved.
I think students get so connected to their communities and their maybe set of friends or the activities or areas that interest them that sometimes they don't leave enough time to respond to some of the interesting programs or activities or events that might be happening at a given moment. So it's real easy to get into a routine and get into a cycle and focus your time and attention and sort of exclude yourself from some of the other opportunities that are out there.
I think that issues like diversity and social justice are really at the core of what I hope we're about in student affairs and what I hope my role helps to foster here on campus. A couple of directions that I think are particularly promising for us to work on together. Number one, strengthening our capability to bring differing groups of students together for meaningful dialogues.
As part of SCU, and being a senior, in my fourth year at Georgetown, I've noticed, throughout all 4 years, throughout, my progression in my college life, I've noticed that, there have been things happening on campus as far as incidents of discrimination. We get emails almost every week with some kind of, mishap on campus. And there have been a few of those throughout, the 4 years that have involved discrimination and basically some kind of bias. And, there are responses to it by the student body. There'll be protests, there'll be talks and all this, basically primary responses that get limited to just conversation, which is good, you know, because that's one thing we need is conversation between people who otherwise would not, you know, be talking to each other. But at the same rate, talk only goes so far, and that's one of the things that I was starting to get a little disillusioned with, you know, by my junior year, or, you know, end of sophomore, start of junior year. I was like, I've been part of student groups, you know, we talk a lot, we, you know, put on events, but nothing really happens.
Have I ever felt like the target of discrimination on campus? At the end of last year, as we were packing up spring semester to head out for summer, I went to the storage truck that was laid out. It was outside of the Southwest Quad, and I was waiting in line, chilling, ready to get out of Georgetown and go home. And I had my blue jeans on, an Obama shirt on, looked like a regular college student, sitting in line, and there are Hispanics who are moving the boxes. They're the ones who are working for the company. And this student who's standing in line next to me, who apparently didn't know that I wasn't working for the company. He thought that I was a worker for the company. Turns to me and asks, "Sir, excuse me, would you mind getting my boxes for me, please?" Completely serious. I thought he was joking at first, and I turned, kind of smiled, looked at him, and he was serious, and I just shook my head and just stared at him and said, "I don't work here, dude."
It's like, how do you do diversity though? Like,
yeah,
how do you say, okay, well, we're going to take action and let's have a quota? Like, Georgetown already does that.
Like, for example, when everyone talks about diversity, one action would be not to separate yourself in the cafeteria. Like, I see a lot of people talk about, oh, we need diversity, we need inclusion, but then you see those same people who will simply run downstairs and eat and never go upstairs and hang out or just sit with people that they see in class.
But then, okay, so you're saying diversity is a choice, right? And the sad thing is, there's a choice for some people and for other people it's not. And, you know, so if I just have to be, you know, Latino every day, all day, and I don't really have anybody that looks like me, then I have to meet everybody else on my floor sometime, or else I'm just, you know, I'm not going to do anything, you know? So for some people it's a choice, some people it's not. Like, what do you do with that? You know, like how do I do diversity better if I have to be, you know, the quote unquote diverse person?
I love this place, you know, but there's so many problems you can really see at Georgetown, you know. Just being in business class and you're like the only African American in that class. And just looking at the faculty body and the staff body, and you really don't see a lot of people that look like you. You know, I'm not really complaining, but I think there should be some change.
How SCU came about during that time was, it was a very tumultuous time on campus, as it was pretty much around the country as far as issues of discrimination and race relations and all that, because of the GINA 6 that was going on at the time. And parallel to that, unfortunately on campus there were a couple of hate crimes related to I think it was two homosexual individuals on separate occasions who got abused while they were just on like random college nights. So it was pretty clear that just on campus there was like a need for something to change as far as, you know, students treating other students, as how students, you know, even look at each other and the campus, and for there to be some semblance of unity.
When we compare Georgetown to some of the other universities that are, you know, in the top 25 in this country, I think we're okay, but I hear some of my experiences from people who go to Brown, people who go to Harvard, and there's so many other things that are offered at their schools that I think we could offer here. So it's something that I hope is worked on in the future.
I would say I see more pros than cons, and my hopes would be that we could have a very open dialogue between the students, faculty, and administration. And ultimately, what I would like to see is some reflection within our community, within our curriculum for undergraduates in particular, that would build on what we have. I know that many departments already offer courses and offer classes where some element of diversity might be already integrated in a particular class. If we can build a course that would sort of integrate all of those various points, then I think that will strengthen what we can offer to the university, to the students.
SCU came along, and the main thing that I saw with SCU was that it offered the chance of something, you know, tangible. it offered the, with the final report that we would work towards, we would have something that we could hold as a, something that, like, to hold the campus accountable with, pretty much. And we would then be able to use that and say that no, things aren't all right, and this is why. Like, this report explains why things aren't all right. And so in that way, even though we wouldn't directly be changing the campus and changing the way things are on campus, we'd be providing the proof, the final, like, concrete proof to say that, things do need to change. And even if it's us not changing things, at least we'd be able to spark other students after us to change things, and hopefully administration as well, because without them, students really can't do much.
What I have really appreciated about SCU is the fact that it is student-initiated, student-led, and has persevered over a relatively long amount of time. A number of the student projects that I encounter, usually because either the provost's office or the diversity equity counselor asks for funding, are much shorter term. So the complexity of SCU, the complexity, the scale of the research project, the number of questions, the number of students, the hierarchy that was organized, this to me was very impressive, as well as the consultation with a number of different experts who were able to help and should have been able to help the process.
When people ask me what does social justice look like, I say things like, it looks like what people are doing for others. Our own mission statement at the center begins, in order to advance justice and the common good, we will take our role, and that to me is exciting. The mission becomes real when centers, when departments, when colleges, when all of us say, the mission is us. What are we doing individually and collectively to make it real?
It seems like when you go around, you talk about diversity. When you go around, talk about like stereotypes. No one really talks about it because they don't think their voice is going to be heard. But honestly, this needs to change, and I believe with SCU, this change will start.
My long-term goal is is a subversive one. I hope to transform the university. I hope to be part of a movement that over time transforms the university. And not just for selfish purposes. I think that just like people who work over the decades to transform the United States in honor of the values that the country itself proclaims, I hope to help transform the university to make it look, feel, and act like the place that it describes when it talks about itself.
Amen.